Joe Biden, just like Barack Obama cut $85 million away from HBCUs when he was president, but you Obama maniacs ignored that. President Barack Insane Obama cut $85 million from HBCUs while he was president, but you Obama maniacs and Democratic plantation slaves totally ignored that. So Joe Biden had to come back behind Barack Obama, his Democratic presidential predecessor, and he is cutting the proposed HBCU budget from $45 billion to $2 billion. Now, let's just think about that for a minute. The budget for the HBCUs was supposed to be $45 billion, and your president, Joe Biden, is cutting the HBCU budget from $45 billion to $2 billion. Let's read the article. Because I told you coons. That Joe Biden was going to do all over you once he used you for your unaccountable Negro vote. I told you coons that Joe Biden was going to defecate all over black people's egos once he got your vote. The Democratic Party is done with Negroes. Republican Party been done. See, the Republican Party was done with you as soon as slavery ended. Republican Party was done with you when slavery ended. Democratic Party is done with you ever since Obama got elected. They're done with you. Let's read the article. HBCUs funding under Biden has been dwindling down. The newest version of the $45 billion plan now sits at $2 billion. For many who walk campuses like Southern University, this was very disappointing news. But some believe there's still hope. Unfortunately, I wasn't shocked by this. This is what happened, says NAACP Political Action Chair Jared Lutter. President Biden's $45 billion HBCU proposal was reviewed by legislatures in the House Education and Labor Committee before getting cut to $2 billion. Lutter said HBCUs need as much funding as possible. The students that go there, they are already financially strapped. That funding is not just for the university, it's for the benefit of the students. Although money was cut, Dillard University president, Dr. Walter Kimbrough, said this is actually something that they can work with. Maybe you don't get 50 billion. Maybe you get 2 or 3 billion. But if we normally get $1 billion a year and I get 3 or 4, that's a big increase. We got to push because he's given us an opportunity now to advocate for the funds that we need, but we have to do our part. That was a very coonish response. He's defending the white power structure. Representative Troy Carter tweeted about the cut in funds. He said he is in favor of more funding, but said it may be tough. He said in his tweet, when colleges refuse to admit blacks, HBCUs offer them a safe space and a high-quality education. We must ensure that these institutions have the resources necessary to thrive and continue their important work. As a proud HBCU grad, I know how impactful my experience was. From my perspective, I love to be the large number, but I'm realistic that in order to compromise and get it done, we have to settle for something a little less than what would be perfect in the hearts and minds of many. Kimbrough said money was planned to be used for things like infrastructure and student learning. However, the funding cut does make things a little more difficult when competing with bigger minority schools. You have a pool of money that they're going after and I'm going after. I'm on the losing end. Local leaders pointed out that HBCUs are already underfunded in comparison to other universities. I mean, we didn't have the leverage to be able to get in and vote for things that would benefit us, so you don't have the power. And there's a lot of power in voting. You can't have the resources directed towards you intentionally. It all had to be philanthropic. He said negotiation is not over, change can happen. Brothers and sisters, Joe Biden sold the HBCU community and the black community in general, because we love our HBCUs, or at least we should, he sold us a bait and switch. See, this is what elected officials do to black folks and have been doing to black folks ever since slavery ended. Joe Biden knew he wasn't going to give HBCUs $45 billion, but he knew Negroes wanted to hear that. Let me repeat myself. Joe Biden knew he was not going to give HBCUs $45 billion. He knew he was only going to give $2 billion. He knew he was only going to give $2 billion. But he told you he was going to give you $45 billion to make sure he get the vote. Now, Barack Obama cut $85 billion from HBCUs, okay? Now, they have a new term that they're clumping HBCUs in. Listen to me well. They have a new term that they're clumping HBCUs under. And the new term is minority serving colleges and university, MSCU. That's right, not HBCU, MSCU. Do your research on MSCU. See, we're used to saying historically black colleges and universities, HBCU. But Joe Biden has come up with a new word, and so did Barack Obama. So did Barack Obama. The new word is minority serving colleges and universities, MSCU. So let me tell you what they about to do. Let me tell you what they about to do. All the money that the HBCUs were going to get is now going to go to minority serving colleges and universities. And since we love to be integrationists and multiculturalists, and since we love to be integrationists and multiculturalists, and since we love to be integrationists and multiculturalists, all the money that should have been going to HBCU now goes to MSCU, minority serving. That means Afghanis who are coming over can get some of that. The Latinos, the Mexicans, the Chinese, the Arabs, the Indians, the rainbow community, all that money that should be going to HBCUs has been multiculturalized. They have multiculturalized the HBCU money. Obama did it first. Obama did it first. Obama did it first. Obama said we have to make some of these funds available for minority serving colleges and universities. They know the HBCUs are hurting. They know the HBCUs are hurting. So why did Barack Obama steal $85 million from HBCUs and redirect it to the MSCU? Why did Barack Obama take $85 million from the HBCU and direct it to the minority serving colleges and universities? And now Joe Biden is going to take $43 billion away from the HBCUs and send it to minority serving. So that money goes to the rainbows. It goes to the Afghanis who are fresh in the ghetto from Afghanistan. That money is going to go to everybody else. White women are a minority. All women are a minority, right? For the white power structure's definition. So all that money is going to go right past the HBCU, and it's going to go back to predominantly white institutions. It's going to go to predominantly white institutions. It's going to go to predominantly white institutions. See, the PWIs are minority serving universities. Let me say it again. Harvard and Yale and Princeton and Duke and University of North Carolina and California State. These rich white universities who already got enough money. These rich white universities who already got enough money. These rich white universities who already have enough money are now going to get the minority serving college and university money too. And it's all our fault. It's all our fault. Come on now. Come on now. Who had a conversation with Joe Biden before we went out en masse to vote for him? Nobody. Who had a conversation with Barack Obama before we all went out en masse to go vote for him? Nobody. Who had a conversation with Bill Clinton before we all went out en masse to go vote for them? Nobody. The way this thing works is the slave master, the Democratic Party, tells the House slaves, the Congressional Black Caucus. The Democratic Party, which is the slave master, tells the House slaves, the Congressional Black Caucus. The Democratic Party, the slave master, tells the House slaves, the Congressional Black Caucus, to go tell all the field slaves, the black voters, go tell all the field slaves, the black voters, to go and endorse the slave master. Go vote for the slave master. And the slaves in the field have been brainwashed by the slaves in the House, Congressional Black Caucus. The slaves in the field have been brainwashed by the slaves in the House to believe that the slave master is going to change his behavior if they stay on the plantation. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Deja vu, deja vu, deja vu. The house slaves are going to convince the field slaves that if you stay on this plantation, if you vote Democrat, if you stay on this plantation, the slave master is going to change his behavior towards you. And I have a question to ask you. When has the slave master ever changed his behavior toward the slaves? When has the slave master ever changed his behavior towards the slaves? So the HBCUs just got defecated on. He's going to give all that money to PWIs, and they're doing that for 3 reasons. The reason Joe Biden is cutting the HBCU money is to suffocate the HBCU campus. They want HBCUs gone. Why is the HBCU a problem for the global African depopulation agenda? Why is the historically black college a problem for the global African depopulation agenda? The reason the HBCU is a problem for the global African depopulation agenda is because HBCUs are responsible for graduating nearly half of all black professionals. Let me say it again. The 101 HBCUs in this country, the private ones, the state ones, the land grants. These 101 HBCUs are responsible for graduating 50% of your doctors, your lawyers, your teachers, your psychologists, your engineers, your social workers. They are the reason you have a black middle class. The HBCU, as dysfunctional as many of them are, without them, there is no black middle class. Without them, there is no black middle class. So if you want to get rid of black folks, you've already destroyed the public school system. You've already shut down the black church. You have gentrified the Black Power movement with the Rainbow movement. The next target is the HBCU. Kill the institutions that provide these people with their middle class professionals. Kill the HBCU. They've taken care of everything else. Black fraternities ain't saying a damn thing about what's happening to black people. Black church ain't saying a damn thing about what's happening to black people. National black leaders ain't saying a damn thing about what's happening to black people. Next on the list, kill the HBCU. If they kill the HBCU, where them teachers gonna come from? Where them engineers gonna come from? Where them doctors gonna come from? Where them lawyers gonna come from? Where them scientists gonna come from? So now, Killing the HBCU is absolutely necessary to turn black people into a permanent American underclass. Killing the HBCU is absolutely necessary in order to turn black people into a permanent American underclass. Are y'all listening to me? Are y'all listening to me? Are y'all listening to me? Joe Biden knows if we want to complete the global African depopulation agenda, we have to intensify poverty and we have to intensify crime. That means we have to keep them unemployed, which is working for the blacks with felonies. The felons have effectively been marginalized. But what about the black youth who are not felons, the ones who are going to these colleges? We have to disenfranchise them. So now they're going to sabotage the HBCUs, put more of them on the closing block. They're going to shut down more HBCUs because if you don't get that degree, certain jobs you're not going to qualify for. And let us also keep in mind that HBCUs, some of them still have industrial building trade programs. Some HBCUs still have industrial building trade programs. Some of them have farming and agricultural science. They have electrician programs, plumbing, HVAC, welding programs, bricklaying programs. So if they want to crush the black economy, they got to kill the HBCU, and Joe Biden is leading the charge. And guess what's going to happen next? Guess what's going to happen next? Guess what's going to happen next? They're going to start forcing these HBCUs to cooperate with the PWI. Listen to me. The PWIs are going to colonize the HBCUs. Listen to me. What they did in Africa, they're about to do with the HBCUs in America. What they did in Africa, they're about to do with the HBCUs in America. They are going to force the HBCUs to collaborate, cooperate with the predominantly white institutions. And once that happens, HBCUs are gone. Now, this isn't all the white man's fault. This is not all the white man's fault. This is not all the white man's fault. A lot of this is our fault. A lot of you Negroes watching this, you went to HBCUs, but you sent your children to PWIs. A lot of you Negroes watching this right now, you went to HBCUs, but you sent your children to PWIs. A lot of you black parents watching this live, a lot of you went to HBCUs, but you sent your children to PWIs because you wanted to imitate your slave master. I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real. So the black community has not supported the HBCU, and the HBCUs have not involved themselves in the black community the way that they should have. So the black community failed the HBCU, and the HBCU failed the black community. Now, with all due respect, because I've spoken at many of them, with all due respect, I've spoken at many of them, a lot of the presidents at these HBCUs are bourgeoisie, elitist snobs who could care less about the future of those institutions. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. No disrespect. No disrespect. But a lot of the presidents of the historically black colleges and universities in this country are talented 10th, coon Illuminati, upper class, bourgeoisie Negroes with no imagination, no ideas, and no genuine concern for the future of the college that they are leading. Am I wrong, brothers and sisters? My HBCU grads, am I wrong? I'm talking to my HBCU grads. My HBCU grads, am I wrong? Is it not true that the college you went to had a bougie ass black president who was so bougie that the last thing they were thinking about was how they can get into the community on a grassroots level and develop relationships that would sustain their institutions long after their presidency? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? See, if I'm president of a HBCU, and one time that was a dream of mine, but now I have to do the FDMG thing. One time I wanted to be president of an HBCU. I really did. Of course, I'm too revolutionary. They'll never allow me because they're white funded institutions, right? That's okay. I'm going to build my own college, so it's okay. But brothers and sisters, 3 things all HBCU presidents should be doing. And if you are an HBCU student, please go to your president and board of trustees. Go to your president and to your bougie board of trustees. Go to your president and to your bougie board of trustees at your college or university. And ask them, why do we not have a charter school or an independent school attached to this college or university? Very few HBCUs are without education programs. Very few HBCUs are without education programs. Very few HBCUs are without education programs. So why aren't the HBCUs building independent schools or opening charter schools that will be attached to them? Howard University has a charter school. Howard University has a charter school. I'm assuming it's still functioning. Howard University has a charter school. I assume it's still functioning. All the HBCUs should have a charter school or a private school. Why? Because one of the big problems for HBCUs is enrollment. One of the big problems for the HBCU is enrollment. You want to know how you solve enrollment? Have a high school that feeds directly into the college. This is not rocket science. If you have 1,000 students in your HBCU high school, those 1,000 students will go directly into your HBCU after graduation. This is not rocket science. The problem is the presidents of these HBCUs are not thinking about the future of the HBCU. The president of the HBCU is not thinking about the future of the HBCU. So number one, every HBCU should have a school. Why doesn't your education department have a school? Come on, HBCUs. If y'all die, Black America dies. If y'all die, Black America dies. So every HBCU needs a school. Number 2, every HBCU needs a farm, a community garden, a large community garden that can provide crops to the entire Black community that's closest to the HBCU. You taking care of diet, you taking care of health, you teaching children how to grow, you teaching the community how to grow, and you're raising money. And you're raising money for the HBCU. Most of you were started as agricultural institutions. Most HBCUs always had an agricultural and technical component. So where is the community farm for the HBCU? The farm and the garden. You should have your own organic chickens, your own organic turkeys, your own organic cows. You should be raising your own fish. You should have your own vegetables, your own fruit. Come on, HBCUs. This is not rocket science. Come on, HBCUs. This is not rocket science. Come on, HBCUs. This is not rocket science. Third thing every HBCU should have. Every HBCU should have a credit union, or a bank. Every HBCU should have a credit union or a bank. And you should have a campaign to have all of the black people in the neighborhood where your school is take their money out of the white bank and put it into the HBCU's credit union or bank. Are y'all following me, brothers and sisters? Brothers, if you with me, give me a fist. Ladies, if you with me, give me a heart. Brothers, if I'm making sense to you, give me a fist. Ladies, if I'm making sense to you, give me a heart. We talk about Black Wall Street. We talking about Black Wall Street. Do you know every HBCU is a potential Black Wall Street? Do you realize every HBCU is a potential Black Wall Street? Every HBCU should have a bank. And nobody's going to question what you're doing with the money because we can see it. Nobody's going to question what you're doing with the money because we can see it. Nobody's going to question an HBCU for what they're doing with the bank or credit union money because we can see it with our own two eyes. Come on, HBCUs. You need a school, you need a farm and garden, and you need a bank. You need a school, you need a farm and garden, and you need a bank. Come on, HBCUs. See, this hurts my heart because I start thinking about St. Paul's College that we could have had. This hurts my heart because I start thinking about St. Paul's College in Lawrenceville, Virginia that we should have had. This hurts my heart because I start thinking about St. Paul's College in Lawrenceville, Virginia that we should have had, brothers and sisters. They only wanted $2 million. St. Paul's College wanted $2 million and I couldn't raise that. Now, there was a lot of coonery and buffoonery that was involved in that. A lot of coons tried to sabotage me because we don't like to see each other win, brothers and sisters on Facebook. Instagram blocked me. But brothers and sisters on Facebook, black people don't like to see each other win. And the reason we have a problem seeing each other win is slavery convinced us only one black person can succeed at a time. Let me say it again. Let me say it again. I'm talking about the psychology of slavery. The psychology of slavery convinced us to believe only one slave can make it to freedom at a time. That's what we were taught. The white power structure convinced us to believe that only one African can make it at a time. That's what we believe. That's what we believe. We have been conditioned to believe only a few of us can make it. The rest will fail. And that is totally false because the Lord of this universe, Supreme Consciousness, the great I am, created a universe of abundance. We can all make it, but we gotta make it together. We can all make it, but we gotta make it together. We can all make it, but we gotta make it together, brothers and sisters. We can all make it, but we gotta make it together. Stop getting angry when another black man is doing more than you or better than you, because he is an extension of you. We talk about the one God, but we got to talk about God being oneness. We talk about the one God, but we got to talk about God being oneness. When all African people on the planet unite under the red, black, and green flag, when all African people on the planet unite under the red, black, and green flag of the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, we become God. God is one. God is when all Africans connect like Voltron. When we become, that's why the Honorable Marcus Garvey said, one God, one aim, one destiny. The mind can't have multiple aims. The mind can't have multiple directions. You can't go north, south, east, and west all at once. That's why the most honorable Marcus Garvey said, one aim, one destiny. We have to move as a people. Unity. Solidarity. Unity brings you together. Solidarity keeps you together. Unity brings you together. Solidarity keeps you together. Unity brings you together. Solidarity keeps you together.